All right, and we're live. I'm here with a guest who has some of the most fresh, original Hearts of Iron 4 content on YouTube. So please check out his channel. We're going to be getting into some fairly serious topics that I feel need to be addressed surrounding the Hearts of Iron 4 community. And I have not seen it addressed anywhere else on YouTube. So we're going to get into that today. And our guest today is Sejozwak. Go ahead and say hi.
Hi guys, welcome to another video, or actually podcast.
So Sejo, you have a very dry humor, and I love that. I love dry humor and a very unique play style for Hearts of Iron 4. And I'm not really seeing anyone else doing your type of content. It's kind of like mess around content, but at the same time, it's backed up with 10 out of 10 gameplay. And it's even hard to try to reproduce your videos, or I'm sorry, trying to reproduce your builds in Hearts of Iron 4, even watching your videos. Not that it's the video's fault, but it's the nature of your gameplay style that is so challenging. And all those things are the reason why I love your channel. How did you develop your play style?
Okay, so my playstyle, as you said, is kind of different to other players. Well, I kind of developed it before I even started this YouTube channel. I always, when I played any game, tried to find some exploits or easy ways, cheeses or whatever, to make some missions or whatever and goals easier. And I did that also with the HOI4. Before I started my channel, I actually developed and found some exploits, and then I just decided, you know what, maybe I could like share this. So I just made my channel. And yeah, as you said it at first, I started uploading some, let's just say, worse content, and I kind of still upload it to this day. But later on, I started uploading those gameplay videos with those exploits, as you said. And yes, they are often hard to follow. Sometimes people even say in the comments that they can't follow it. Some of them are RNG, and there is that aspect to it. But most of them are really not. But yeah, sometimes you need to have a bit better skill cap. Some videos are easier, some strats are easier, some are even harder.
Would you say you have to have all DLCs enabled to follow your content because of the spy stuff, or?
To follow most of my content, you sadly have to have all the DLCs enabled, except for maybe like Battle for Bosporus, but who cares about that DLC? But yeah, sadly, the way this game works, most of the features are hidden or locked behind a paywall, and most of the strats, which are OP, are also hidden behind those features that you need. And to get them, you need DLC. So yeah, sadly, you need DLCs if you want to follow most of my strats. Sadly, not just my strats. If you want to have fun recently, you also need most of the DLCs at least.
Yeah, I've been saying for a while now that they need to roll up the DLCs into like either one paywall package or simplify the matter. And they have to a certain extent. But I really feel like some of the DLCs that you have to pay for should just be free and not in under a paywall at all, particularly the older ones. It's their business. They could do what they want with it. So yeah, back to your gameplay though, like I'm always like surprised when I see you do the diplomatic and spy stuff. Is that just like going through the game and testing stuff time and time again? Or do you now have a sense of like what's going to work? Because it can be annoying having to like reload and like take saves and stuff.
Well, as you mentioned, yeah, my gameplays are mostly like diplomacy based, not more tactics. I'm still kind of trash when it comes to some things like micro or like making a good template or plane. But I used to watch a lot of Torior. You probably know him. I think he was also on this podcast. Was he?
Yep, he was.
Yeah, he was. And watching his videos, I kind of got the inspiration from him and his approach to the game. He always looked for those diplomatical cheeses, not trying to make the best possible template that can destroy everything in the world, but maybe like clicking few buttons and like getting to puppet some country or whatever. And yes, as you asked me previously, testing the game, yes, it can be painful at the times, but of course I do it without Iron Man. I have a somewhat different approach probably to most of the players. I try to recreate almost perfect scenario using commands, cheating a little bit, and then seeing how that scenario can play out. Maybe getting myself some extra political power or whatever. And then if I realize that that perfect scenario is an OP strat, then I try to adapt in the actual run to make those to make that scenario actually possible, if you know what I mean.
Yes, and so Tarier said that he pretty much battle plans. Do you micro at all, or are you a battle plan guy?
I'd say I'm in middle. I love it when I can just click the buttons and just
Yeah.
break through everything. But sometimes I really need to do some micro, whether it be like defending, like recycling your divisions, or like defeating Soviet Union. Definitely need some micro to destroy those early divisions. Like it's hell to take them out, especially when you reach like almost Urals and they still haven't capped. And making sure that they have like 50 divisions less is definitely a massive game changer. So yeah, I'd say I'm in the middle, but I'm more of a micro than a battle plan guy.
Are you keeping the units in the battle plan, or do you take all the units out when you're trying to micro?
Usually they are in the battle plan. Usually that's of course frontline battle plan. But of course, if let's say I have a massive army of infantry, and if I'm trying to micro with like 5, 10 divisions, then usually I split them off, or maybe I try to make like the encirclement from two directions. Maybe I just send them to a certain place using the order, then just delete it. And yes, I do get it using the battle plan. Battle plans is gonna get you some planning bonus that's gonna help you out. But I don't know. I often forgot to even draw battle plans. Like I'm just sitting there and never draw the offensive line until I have to attack, and then I'm like, oh shit, why did I forget it again?
Yeah, always use your battle plan for the battle plan bonus, even if the units aren't even in the battle plan. That's a tip for the viewers. I've noticed I'm using a empty set battle plan is the way I say it, but basically taking everyone out of the battle plan for Finland. I've been exclusively playing Finland lately, and that's been working well because the divisions don't shuffle when they get kicked out of a particular battle. What is your combat width now with Arms Against Tyranny switching up all the combat?
Yeah, combat with Arms Against Tyranny switched it up, but I think Bible Alone also switched it up, and especially no, Bible Alone switched up more of the way the AI behaves. But No Step Back was definitely the DLC that changed everything. But still, I haven't adapted much. I still use 20 width usually for defense, like pure infantry. You can't get wrong with it because infantry is always better for defense than artillery. And of course, some support companies like support artillery is a must-have, so you can actually push a little bit. Support anti-air if the enemy has any air, and maybe engineers if you can afford it, but that's really expensive. As for the assault or well attack, I use a bit better template. I usually stick to 26 or 27 width. The 27 is 9-3, basically 9 infantry battalions and 3 artillery battalions, while the 26 width is 10-2. That one is weaker, but it's also cheaper. But I'd say the 27 width is a superior one. You can also, if you want to use a template, remove like one infantry battalion and add some anti-air, like 2 anti-air or 1 anti-air. That can also help you out, but usually I don't do it. I usually build some air. So yeah, I don't need that much of anti-air. So yeah, that's my go-to template. 27 width, 9-3 with support engineers, artillery, anti-air. Maybe sometimes something else, but usually not. Yeah, rocket artillery. Yeah, that thing. I forgot that thing. That thing is also pretty damn good. You can also shuffle out some artillery and switch it to rocket artillery because it's superior, but it takes until 90-40 to research, right? So yeah, you can't have it.
And then you attack in stacks of 2?
Yeah, when it comes to my micro, yeah, usually 2 divisions at a time. But when it comes to micro, I use a little bit of cheese because I cheese in this game a lot, and that's the retreat into the enemy territory cheese. Maybe you know about it, maybe you don't. You
Yeah.
basically have to start retreating into your own territory when you're being attacked, and then just retreat into enemy territory. And it's OP, and I'm worried that it's still not patched, but I like that fact. And yeah, I just try to micro and make as big encirclement as possible. One thing I also do a lot in the micro is force attack at last stand, and that's two features that I think players use too little. They forget about them. They think that they're bad, but come on, what's the 10% strength damage gonna do to you if you can maybe destroy 10 enemy divisions? Yeah, definitely definitely force attack and the last stand should be used more.
Yeah, last stand is OP for sure, particularly if you just need to do it in one division. You just take that division out of the army that it's in, assign it to a new army of one, and put a general on it, and it'll conserve a lot of manpower that way.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. Not just manpower, but the only thing that limits the force attack from being overused, and well, last stand, that's the command power. Like, to do that with one full army, that's gonna take away like 150 command power. That's insane. But if you do like one division, like you're gonna lose like 7 command power. That's nothing. And another great thing about last stand and force attack, especially force attack, when you don't have enough supplies, but let's say you have enough air and the enemy's just naval invaded. Now this is very niche example, but let's just say you lost a naval base, you know, no longer have any supplies. You have air though. You just keep on attacking, you can't break through. But if you do some force attack, you're gonna break through, you're gonna take out the enemies, you're gonna save your country, right? Maybe at loss of some strength, true. You're gonna lose some manpower, you're gonna lose some guns, equipment, but it's usually worth it if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. And that little strat that you were talking about where you back up into your own territory, I call that the rope-a-dope.
Ropadome.
And I have seen instances where the AI won't fall for it, although it's niche. And that was surprising. I think that was after the last DLC by Blood Alone.
I think that I actually discovered that on my own, but some people discovered it before me. I remember I made a short like long time ago. It was probably my first video that did well on YouTube. It got 1,000 views overnight, and I was like, "Oh my god, I made it!" And then I realized, wait, how many subs did I get? I got 1 subscriber. I was like, "What?"
Oh
But yeah,
yeah,
that was like my first video that did somewhat good. And
guided
yeah, I
guided
think
content. They get what they need and dip. They don't stick around.
yeah they just go up and stop. I think it got 1,000 extra views in the past 2 years after they upload. So yeah, that's how much it says, how much it grows after some time. It just stops. But
So 27 width is going to fit in stacks of two, 54 if I'm not completely brain dead. And that's going to fit into any combat width currently, right? Is that kind of what you're doing there with 27?
I don't know. I'm not an expert in combat with. I'll be honest with you, but I use that template because it's similar to the 7.2, which is legendary. But this one is just chunkier and stronger. It has more soft attack, more orc, more HP. Actually, I'm not sure if it has more. I think it has more orc. But I see it as a superior template that can easily beat 7.2. I don't know. I just use it. I'm honestly not that much of a multiplayer player. That probably would suck in MP. But in single player, it's fine. I usually don't build anything besides infantry anyway. Sometimes just some mountaineers or some tanks, but there is literally no point in building tanks in single player. They are cool, and that's it, basically. They're just cool.
Yeah, multiplayer is just tank micro. You micro the infantry if you're doing naval invasions or you're attacking in the swamps, but that's about it. And I'll give you. So I studied this heavily with Pigeon. That was the last podcast I did. 21 width is potentially the worst combat width in the game. And then if you go over combat width, the penalties have been increased quite a bit. So as long as you're not going over combat width, I would say, and your soft attack is right, you're golden in AI games. Like, there's nothing you can't do.
Yeah, I'd say there's only one thing that stops you from anything if you have a perfect template, and that's supplies in certain places. Oh my god, I hate that. Do you know that Hungary just has one supply hub in like entire country in HOI4?
They're trying to, the devs are trying to create a speed bump, or they got one Hungarian dev hanging out in the corner
Yeah.
over there.
Nobody will conquer Hungary. We will make one supply hub and just hold Budapest. Good luck.
But it's like planes. It's like going to be so hard to hold.
Yeah, because the HOI4 and the supply hubs, they're so funny. Do you know that like in the southern Peru, there's 3 supply hubs right next to each other, and they're not even like connected. There's just random 3 supply hubs in Peru.
They got a lot of supply over there in those Andes mountains.
Yeah, it's like in the end of the country as well, like randomly. God knows why.
That's the old Inca and Olmec strongholds. You got to break
Yeah,
into their granaries.
yeah, they have all the gold there. That's why their supplies.
All right, well, let's transition into some of the other topics we got going on here. What is your definition of cringe?
Oh, my definition of cringe. To be honest, I sometimes just call some things cringe. I don't know. It's like certain groups of people call somebody fascist for anything they do, or just disregarding something. I don't know. It's a bit stupid, but I can't really define it. That's sadly the truth. But yeah, when I see cringe, I know it's cringe. But
Maybe
yeah,
someone trying to exploit an audience or something like that?
yeah, that can also apply. Like that belongs to the cringe umbrella, underneath the cringe umbrella. But there's other things that are also quote unquote cringe. I know it's just something that I think is negative, and I just use the term cringe to like stamp it and say this is cringe. This sounds so stupid.
Dude, that word like gets me every time. I'm like, I can't.
Cringe, cringe.
So why do you feel that like Twitch streaming could be cringe, or what are the different circumstances?
Well, the Twitch streaming is like also a form of content creation, and I think it can be cringe just like YouTube can. But Twitch is more fertile land, more fertile ground for being cringe because there is very little innovation, and besides innovation, there is very little originality. There were like 5 people who were original, and then everyone just copied them, and that's just the whole thing about Twitch. Everyone's just streaming probably the same games. I don't know. I'm honestly not that much on not that much on Twitch, but I know about it, and I watched some creators, and they're all bogged down to basically uh, the same. All of them are like 90% similar. There's some minor changes here and there, but most of them are just playing viral games. It's just, I don't know, it's just boring experience to me.
I like dipping into Twitch and watching like some of the role play and stuff. And what it has become is
Man.
basically if you're in the top category, you've got a agency backing you that most likely owns the RP server that you're on, paying the dev team for the RP server. So in essence, for you to create that same thing, you have to be on that server. And that's a little hard for guys like you and I that don't have like the spending power to kind of compete with, is the way I view Twitch right now, at least.
Oh yeah, it has just became a delicate system where some individuals and some people who manage them and back them and support them, who are in their team or whatever, they just recirculate money. They just make money, spend some of it to make some more, etc., etc. It has no longer the soul basically. And besides that, Twitch itself also has some staff issues. We know that that's been going on for like half a decade at this point. There's some biases and whatnot. So yeah, rules not apply equally to all the creators and all the streamers. And
That
I
is
don't
that is true. Yes.
true, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's every bird on the tree knows that at this point. So yeah, the Twitch itself kind of cringe, and there's some creators also who are cringe. Sadly, the cringe ones are the popular ones usually. But yeah,
I might start streaming on there again as a multi-stream because they just dropped their exclusivity contract. If I have stream stability issues, though, I'm not going to do that and just keep on streaming on YouTube. Let me ask you a different thing. Is Mr. Beast cringe?
Mr. Beast, a little bit, but I think he overall is not, because he might have done some cringe things or whatever, but I respect the hustle. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But I mean, he what he does is really good. It's really charitable. It's a really an honorary thing to do. And even back in the day, before he was this rich mastermind giving away money to people in need, he also like was original. Like he had those live streams where he would count to 1 million or whatever. And I never saw anyone else do that. Maybe there were some other people, but it was original. I'd say he's not cringe. He's not cringe. He is what edgy 15-year-olds would say and call based.
Yeah, I think he's good for the charitable aspects and the fact that he's all in, but mostly it's he's authentic with it himself within his own thing. As I feel that you and your content is, and that's why I feel it resonates so well with your audience. And it's not that you do low effort content, but as I alluded to before, you're not spending $1 million on every video like Mr. Beast is. But I feel like you have very challenging builds, but like very interesting content that is authentic in and of itself. And anyway, I think that's why I like your channel so much.
So in conclusion, I'm a Mr. Beast, right?
Well, I haven't seen you do any charity events yet, though.
I might do one soon, though. I might do one soon.
Well, you do giveaways, so that's
Yeah, I do give
charitable.
Yeah, kind of charitable. Yeah.
So let's get into some YouTube drama topics. If you go to Sejo's channel, you could see a few videos explaining the background behind this drama. But unfortunately, this is where the podcast is going to turn to be more serious, and we do take these topics very seriously. I just want to make sure you guys all know that. But you recently, or was it like 6 months ago, were receiving a death threat?
Well, it was in July, mid-July. If I remember, 17th of July, if I remember well. So that was like 4 months ago, right? It wasn't exactly far back in time. It wasn't exactly recent. But yeah, I did have a drama with a fellow content creator, and I had some death threats, but luckily it turned out that they were mostly just, empty talks or whatever. Empty threats, I hope so. I mean, you can never be 100% sure. Maybe there's somebody hunting for me still, but I don't think that's the case. I think they were just empty threats. So yeah, that escalated quickly and de-escalated quickly, thank God, and yeah, I'm fine.
Do you and this other content creator still have beef, I would assume?
Not really. I don't know. I'm still not very fond of him. He's probably not very fond of me either, but we don't really have that many, what would you call it, like things in common, like common dots, common points. He's no longer really a HOI4 content creator. I'm not interacting with him anymore with his assets or whatever. So like there, even if we had some beef, it's very hard to put it, but there would be no way to like express it. Like, what's the point? Like, it's irrelevant. I'm irrelevant to him, and he's irrelevant to me right now. So yeah, that we kind of parted our ways some way.
Well, not to dig up all this other stuff, but what sparked you or gave you the courage to speak out against this person? And do you feel that he was exploiting his audience, and that's why you spoke out? What was your motivation behind kind of doing the videos that you did on this topic?
Well, basically, what you just asked me, yeah, it was basically that he was kind of exploiting his audience. Well, you could say kind of, because not all of his audience were kids, obviously, but big portion were. And he was trying to get money out of them. So yeah, I kind of reacted to that. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe it wasn't the smartest move still to this day, since I did make some enemies. But I don't know. At that time, I felt like that's the most righteous thing to do, and I felt like if I'm not gonna do it, somebody else might. But the worst scenario would be if nobody else did it, then we just let him go free, doing whatever the hell he's doing. So yeah, at that point, at that moment in time, I felt like somebody really needs to address that. So yeah, I just did it.
Well, I've gotten complaints about my get up and my costume. I've dropped the mask, but just for my audience, you can see that on the internet, you know, people can say very hurtful things, and sometimes it's not always the best to just come forward with your identity. And I've been accused online of, you know, what do you have to hide? Or you're wearing a mask like a whatever political party or something like that. It's like, no, not everyone on the internet is going to be, you know, kind to you. Some people are dangerous, and not everyone, but it's that 0.1% that you really worry about. And you're not public with your image either. Is that one of the reasons why?
Yes, one of the reasons is why. The other reason was more like at that time I was a bit ashamed of being a YouTuber. That's like that's like a funny thing to be. So I didn't feel like sharing my face. Maybe someone from real life would recognize me. Later on, I wasn't really ashamed anymore, but might as well like keep up with the gig. I said I'm gonna make a face review at 100K subs. So yeah, I'm gonna keep to my promise, and I'm gonna do a face reveal, not face review. Oh my god, face reveal, face review. So yeah, as you said, there is some dangerous people out there. Once again, they are luckily a minority, but yeah, sadly the loud minority, and often you can end up in beef with them either intentionally or unintentionally. I kind of intentionally ended up in beef, like with having beef with somebody who is potentially dangerous. But yeah, you could also do nothing. Maybe just interfere with somebody, maybe say something wrong, maybe be a little bit drunk, write a hateful comment, and then you, next thing you know, you're dead. But still, those are some extreme examples. But yeah, it's internet is kind of an unsafe place. It's not exactly safe, but yeah, if you got your face exposed, if you got like more info exposed, that's even worse. Like in the USA, for example, you can get swatted. You probably know of that.
Yeah.
Thank God here you can't be, but yeah, it can be really dangerous. There's some really malicious people there out there.
I worry about swatting, and I would like to just like echo the same sentiment about jumping into this about 5 years ago. You know, it's a thing that not many people do, being a YouTuber. And then it's kind of like, well, who do you think you are, that, you know, you're some big YouTuber? Why are you doing all these things? What makes you think that um, you could be a YouTuber and that people actually want to watch your content? And I used to worry heavily about, like, you know, I don't share personally in my personal life that I do YouTube, because I do worry that it would be a bit embarrassing, or how people would take that, you know.
Yeah, there is a stigma against being a YouTuber, and honestly, I can't blame people because many YouTubers are. I'm just gonna say cringe, and they ruin the reputation of being a YouTuber definitely. And yeah, sometimes it's yeah definitely better to even hide it from people in real life. I I shared. I My family knows about it. Some of my cousins know about it. Some of my colleagues know about it. I'm not really ashamed of that. Most of them respect the hustle, you know, Mr. YouTuber man or whatever. But yeah, there can be malicious people. Like I just share it with people who I trust. Now, if I share it with somebody that is an asshole, he could just write my full name in the comments or something like that, and that wouldn't exactly be, wouldn't exactly be fun.
Well, that's my main worry, is that someone in my local area does what you just said or something else, or doxes me or whatever. That's the main reason why I try to keep my identity on the down low. But we're talking about these cringy YouTubers. How do you tread the line here? Or I guess there's so many different circumstances, but broadly speaking, how to not be cringe on YouTube?
I'll put it in HOI4 terms because these are mostly HOI4 players watching this. It's essentially like balance of power. When you put it, like, it's usually keeping the balance between maximizing your subscriber count, views count, monetization or whatever on one side, and on the other side, kind of staying yourself, staying original. If you get what I mean, not becoming a sellout in a way. And going to either side is gonna hurt you. Going full on to the side of monetization, viewership, sub count, you're gonna become what I call cringe, definitely. And there's definitely those YouTubers who just, they never interact with their fan bases. They don't care. They're just out there to get the bag. And then on the other side, you got the guys who will stay to themselves so much to the point that their channel just stagnates and dies completely. And that's also sad. But yeah, you got to keep a balance between those two things. I think otherwise you're really just gonna either fall off as a person or as a YouTuber.
No, I absolutely agree. And I guess the point of YouTube for myself, because you and I put a lot of effort for very little reward, monetarily speaking. So if you view it as a job, it's not a job that's gonna, I could do whatever and make 20, 30x. And that's not bragging, because the the revenue amount's so low, it's almost sad. But I worried about getting put into a box where I have someone telling me, the algorithm, ad agency, whatever, that I have to do X, Y, and Z, and that's all I can do, and I cannot explore my artwork. To me, YouTube is art. And if I want to go show you me surfing, if I want to go on a hike, or I want to play HOI4 and I've developed an interesting strategy, I want to share that with people so that it helps other people, and then that becomes more meaningful to me as well. And that's really why I do YouTube, is to help out other people. So despite the fact that I don't have 1 million subs and I'm not making a full-time wage off of this, I'm completely happy with everything that's going on here. I get to talk to interesting people like yourself and increase my knowledge of Hearts of Iron 4 in the world. So I don't know if you feel the same way.
I mostly feel the same way, but there's one thing that I have to not really disagree, but I have to really expand on it. You said that it's a good not to be restricted, but sadly, we are in some way restricted. If you upload a video, which has nothing to do with HOI4 or what's your general content, you probably know that you're gonna get way less views, way less attention, and whatnot. But still, that's up to the viewers. We're still not restricted not to be able to upload those videos altogether, and that's good. On the other hand, you also said about the payment. Although I do have a difference there because I do live in a country with a smaller income, so my income is somewhat relevant, I would say. But that makes it even better, and that also motivates me to make content. Of course, I don't do it only for the money, but it's a good thing to have. Let's just say, especially in these very predictable, very stable times when it comes to economy and the well-being of human.
Oh man, it's scary out there. Well, I'm glad that the revenue goes further for you, in your own country. That's good. And it is like you should be rewarded for your work. If you're putting in the work, you should be rewarded in some way. I'm not saying that we should be rewarded with like $1 million or something, but a livable wage would be nice.
Yeah, I know it would be nice, but once again, you can make it. You just have to move the balance of power to the left a little bit more. But then you're gonna become cringe. So yeah, that's the philosophy of YouTube.
You don't want it all the way. You just gotta get it right there in the middle, section of the right or left or whatever.
Yeah, you can just go a little bit to the left or right, and that's gonna be okay. But yeah, going all the way in is definitely not good in anything, in politics, in any aspect of human life. Going too far in one direction is just gonna hurt you, either in the short run or in the long run. It's not good. Balance is the best thing ever.
Well, speaking of turbulent times, we're going to delve into a topic that is very serious, and we're going to be very professional about it. But I feel that I haven't heard anyone on YouTube, at least, speak on this topic. Probably for some of the reasons you alluded to. It's not appealing to the algorithm, let's say.
Yes.
But I could just describe the topic to you in one word, and that's grisha.
Oh. Yes.
So before I get your reaction, let me set up kind of everything that has gone on to my knowledge. Grisha is a Twitch streamer and YouTuber who unfortunately lived in Russia in a nationalist Russian household. And obviously, Russia has a war of aggression against another peaceful sovereign nation. And he lives in this household that is pro that war. I'm not sure particularly what happened, but I noticed about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, he was banned off Twitch. And he must, I haven't seen his YouTube, but does he still have a YouTube?
He has a YouTube channel, yes.
So he's still present on YouTube. And as the war progressed, probably about 3 to 6 months into the war, so that's been a long time now, I saw some images of him with the head of the Wagner PMC, who famously was involved in the Bakhmut siege, became disgruntled with military high command of Russia, and marched to Rostov-on-Don, which is due east of Bakhmut, and sent another force north from Moscow. So this is directly threatening the Russian government. Somehow, Prigozhin is his name, the head of Wagner PMC, struck some sort of deal with Vladimir Putin and went to Africa, where they also have their PMC group that's active. He was called back to Moscow, and his plane blew up, and presumably he is now deceased. So this HOI4 YouTuber Grisha, there's pictures of him signing a piece of paper. I don't know if he signed on with Wagner Group. I don't think that Wagner Group is active in the Ukraine war that I'm aware of anymore. But the man he took a picture with has been recently deceased. Kind of a scary thought there. If you were to put yourself in Grisha's shoes, knowing what type of household he was raised in, what type of culture, what are your options if we go back to the beginning of the start of this conflict?
Probably the best option for him, if I was him, would be silence, not to say anything. But I guess, yeah, what you mentioned, the household thing. The thing is, it's not only Grisha. There's millions of people, and people his age, young people, with the same outlook, with the same opinions, with the same thoughts. We just know of him because he's somewhat active, or at least was, in the HOI4 community. But not much can be done. Some people say he's a puppet of Russian media or government or whatever. I don't believe in that personally. It might be true. You never know. You never really know anything when it comes to media in the last couple of decades. But I just think he's a somewhat indoctrinated kid who, yeah, believes some of those stories. I think he's wrong. I think many people think he's wrong. Unfortunately, he does have a big following, somewhat big following, definitely bigger than mine. but he is not really active in the content creation recently. And also his Twitch, I believe, was banned not that long ago, maybe like 2 months ago. You said it was like a year ago. I think it was sooner.
Oh,
Like more
well, he might have got a strike.
maybe
When I looked it
maybe
up, it was not present. That was a
maybe,
year and a half ago.
maybe he had two accounts then, I don't know. But I know he got recently banned, and he threatened to actually uh, he said he's going to contact some ministers in Russia to get Twitch banned out of Russia. Yeah, I just commented on that. But yeah, besides that, he's really just a loudmouth, to be honest. He's not really affecting anything. Some people, yeah, as I previously said, some people think that he's just like there to indoctrinate Western kids, as they would say it, into having more pro-Russia point of view on everything. Maybe that's true, but still, I don't know. I'm not really an expert on this. I just know that I just know base things about him pretty much as you do. He, in that drama, by the way, he wasn't really directly involved. We had some indirect involvement with him, but yeah, he wasn't involved either because some admins on his server, was it mods, basically stuff on the server, they actually have advised people to mass report my video, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that all just turned out in me going to his server, and then I accidentally pretty much raided his server because I did a live stream right after I uploaded the second video about the drama. You probably know there were two videos.
Yes, I've seen both. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I saw some of those threats right after that video, I made a live stream. So yeah, I don't know. I was really at shock. I probably should not have done it. It was really viewed. Like there were like 500 concurrent viewers or something. Like there were many people seeing this. But yeah, I don't know. I honestly, to this day, I don't know why I even started up that live stream. I was genuinely scared. That's how I'm gonna say. Thank God, most of those things turned out to be just all talk, not really not really based on anything. Just threats, empty threats. And at the end of the day, the person I had drama with, he tried to dox me. I don't know.
Well,
There's not much to be said about that drama anymore. I wouldn't really talk about it anymore. There's nothing really to be said. It wasn't really that much of that big drama anyway.
well, I just wanted to check in with you after recently, seeing the videos and everything, and just make sure that you're all right in terms of that drama. Heading back to the Grisha topic, my complete speculation is that since he is talking to ministers in the government, and he has been seen with the former head of Wagner PMC, that he is somewhat, playing the political game,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, to be honest, when I think about it, he might have actually have some connections. I mean, he is Russian. They're Slavic. We are kind of like we have similar bureaucracy as well here, and family lines, cousins. That's how the things work. Maybe he has some cousin who's a minister or something like that, because I do see him everywhere. He was even on German television once, like the ZDF, or what was the name of it. They interviewed him there.
How
Maybe
did
he has
how did
somebody.
that
Maybe he's
go?
doing just.
Did you see the
Uh,
interview?
yeah, I saw the interview. It wasn't nothing too special. They asked him like, "What's your favorite flag?" or whatever. It was actually about him mourning Prigozhin, basically. Yeah, it had to do with Prigozhin. After Prigozhin had died, still, as I said like 5 times so far, you can't really trust any media. So we don't even know if Prigozhin is dead. Maybe he's even alive. There's even those speculations.
No, I agree. And to your knowledge, since he appeared to be signing a PMC contract, did Grisha fight at all in the war?
Well, he fought in the war because, as far as I'm aware, he's still not 18, or maybe just turned 18 recently. Last time I checked, he was 17 still. So I don't really think he fought in a war. But once again, if the Russian puppet theory is true, if he is there just to spread information or misinformation to boast the support of Russia, I don't really think they would send him out to die on the front lines. He would be much more useful asset on being online and spreading info there. So I really doubt he's going to end up on the front lines.
No, I completely agree. And I was thinking about this before the podcast, like what would I do if I was in his shoes? And I think that silence would be the key, exactly what you said, particularly since someone that was obviously an associate with him passed away, and now he's connected with that person. So it seems like something that's literally spiraled out of control and just needs to stop for his own safety.
He's pretty much safe in Russia though, but he might actually shoot himself in the foot, probably not being able to move or actually move freely in some countries, thanks to all the things he said. But you never know. Maybe we are judgmental here. Maybe he's really harsh situation. Maybe he's poor. Maybe he needs money. Maybe he does all this for money just to survive. We never know. The situation in Russia is not exactly very good now. It's not that terrible either, but it's not exactly rainbows and flowers or whatever. So yeah, we don't really know. Maybe he really just does this to survive. You can't be so sure.
No, absolutely. And I try to I try to look at it from his perspective, but being so young without the experience on your side and when I was 17, I looked up to my family, other people in the community. So it would be really tough to go against the grain in his particular situation. So I actually feel really sorry for him and what's happened so far in his life, because like I said, I do feel like he's being used as a political tool in some ways, in some capacity. I don't know the extent of that, but it is really sad. And with this YouTube channel, I'm afraid myself somehow being misrepresented to the public or compelled to do something that I really wouldn't believe in, or maybe I believe in it, but you don't know the downstream effects of everything that you're putting out there on the internet. That's why I mainly just stick to Hearts of Iron 4 content and the strategies and the gaming. But I did feel that this was the format with you to address this topic, since you have had personal threats, since you have been heavily involved in the Hearts of Iron 4 community. So thank you for addressing that issue. Unless there's something else that you'd like to say on it, I think we'll just put it to rest.
There's not much more to be said on this topic, and there's not much more to be said in general. Maybe I missed something, but I think that's it for now.
Yeah, very serious topic there, and we do take this very seriously. So, yeah, thank you again for addressing that. Though it's not easy to put yourself out there on the internet and express your opinions, and yeah. So moving on, this is going to be a pretty tough transition here, but what are the future projects that you're working for on your YouTube channel?
Well, the future projects, mostly the things stay the same. I keep making the similar shorts I make. I keep making the exploit videos, also the achievement runs. But I did have some sort of a project in my mind. I'm not 100% sure if somebody did this before, because I myself rarely play modded HOI4. I play like 20 hours of World War Blues, a little bit of the, what's the name of it? Road to 56. I saw that mod isn't really accurate, so I didn't really like it. Maybe there is a mod out there, but I wanted to make a mod that would fix all the bugs in HOI4, because we know that the game of HOI4 is filled with bugs that developers may or may not forget about, and it needs some fixing. So yeah, I was thinking about that. Besides that, I was also thinking about making some possibly some charity live stream, but that's in the near future. I maybe that will not happen, but I just plan to do that. Still, I might actually do it. I might not. We'll see about that. And besides that, there's not really that many future projects. There's gonna be maybe sub specials, maybe 3,000 subscriber specials or something. That's of course natural. That comes with time. But yeah, besides those, there's not really much to be said.
What are the
Maybe I'll come up
barriers? Sorry, go ahead.
with maybe I'll come up with something in the meantime. But yeah, besides that, nothing really is on the table.
What are the barriers to you playing a modded HOI4?
Barriers to me playing modded HOI4. That's how do I put it? Uh, I have a caveman brain, and I'm kind of scared of leaving the cave. That's the one way you can put it. I don't know. I'm just I'm really good in HOI4 single player when it comes to vanilla. And many mods not only bring like new focus trees, of course, there are mods. They're even more exploitable than vanilla itself. Usually, mods are not that professional. Some of them are modders. I mean, not mods. Mods also, but usually the bigger mods bring in new game features, new mechanics, and I'm kind of scared of that. It's like playing a brand new game sometimes. Like for example, I never really played any other Paradox game except for Victoria 3. I played it a little bit, but then I quit it. I didn't feel like playing it. It was not my cup of tea, as some people would say. And honestly, right now I'm kind of scared of just like saying, you know what, let me install EU4 maybe and start playing it because I would frankly suck at that game. It would take many hours to reach to even understanding the game, let alone the levels that I have right now at HOI4. So yeah, I'm kind of scared of mods.
Oh, I like to, yeah, me too, because and everyone wants me to play a mod. I'd consider it on a live stream, but it would just be me fumbling through like random things to me at least, and just like stepping on a bunch of landmines. And I think to sum it up, like a famous quote is, I think I tweeted this to the Paradox developer, the lead developer, Peter. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. And I think that sums it up. It's hard to make compelling content across multiple games and be good at it and bring value to your viewer base.
Yeah, that's basically it. Another thing I'm kind of scared when it comes to HOI4, the game is becoming less and less. How do I put it? It's becoming more linear. It's less free. In terms of every single time that a new DLC comes out, you're usually kind of locked. You probably know what I mean by that. For example, a good example of that is Swiss Focus Tree. If you ever played it, oh my god, that country was literally unplayable. Like I played it maybe 2 times. It's not fun at all. Honestly, like going back, turning off the DLC and playing like a generic Focus Tree Switzerland seems a bit more fun than actually playing the Swiss Focus Tree. The game is becoming very restrictive, and honestly, I don't like that. It's becoming very restrictive. For example, in Bible alone, we had a thing where you just couldn't join the faction because of distance, and that kind of doesn't make sense because Germany and Japan were
Yeah,
kind of allies.
I was about to say, yeah.
Despite the distance, I mean, it was more like ideology, more like who is your enemy or whatever. And now in this DLC, we got even more restrictions. The most absurd one being the land lease. Like what? Like in order for Germany to land lease a country, they need like 75% war tension. They're a fascist country. Like they're the ones who should play by no rules and be evil man of the world. And at the same time, you can't send land lease. You can send volunteers, which are more actually important than the land lease. It's like sending actual troops to a country. You can do that, but you can't send them 100 guns. If you get what I mean, it's kind of the game is kind of becoming unbalanced now in a weird way, where devs and the game developers, yeah, devs. I just said developers twice. They try to make the game balanced and more historic and more realistic, but they fail at it and they usually overdo it. And then when they try to, they end up having like slingshot effect. They make it too OP and then they nerf it and make it irrelevant, or they make something super irrelevant and then they buff it and make it OP. Like was it the Bible alone when it came out, when you could like lend lease countries and get war participation? You remember that bug when you could just send oil as like Venezuela and get 90% war participation in World War II. and they nerfed it reasonably so, and then it just became useless. Like no matter how much oil you would send, you wouldn't get any UR participation anymore. And yeah, that's kind of harmful for HOI4.
I think it's fairly. The whole thing is complicated because they are a company that needs new products to sell to people to exist as a company. The developer team, I can say from interacting with them, they're good people, try their best, and they do fix bugs fairly quickly, but you have to bring it to their attention with screenshots and maybe even save files, which is a fair amount of work that I think most players aren't willing to do. But let's take a step back and let me ask you, in terms of video gaming, to represent World War II, do you feel that HOI4 represents the kind of the best video game that we have available to play World War II, to learn historical events, and what is your opinion on that?
I think it's the best game out there. It's decent. I mean, I can't say that the game is bad. It's a good game. It's not a very good representation of World War II, definitely. But back in the day, the game actually strived to do that, but now it really doesn't. When you look at the historical trees that they make in the new DLCs, and then like the random historical monarchist one. So yeah, the game is pushing more in the way of letting the player actually go for ahistorical paths and whatnot, like whataboutism or whatever. And I honestly I like that. Of course, that pushes the game away from the original World War II, like the goal, but it's still a solid game. It's just becoming slightly different, to be honest. But once again, uh, it's kind of linear. It's kind of like protagonistic. If you want to do, for example, alt history path, you have either choice of doing historical focuses or ahistorical. Historical is always the same. You're like the only guy who ends up becoming a monarchist randomly, and nobody else does it. Everyone else stays the same. Nobody reacts at all. Or you do a historical, and then it's a complete shit show, and everything is randomized. It's like a circus. So yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. It makes the game like slightly unrealistic, but I don't even know how would they implement that to make it more realistic. It would be just so hard to implement, to be honest.
No, I agree. For me, the additions with No Step Back, No Step Back on my tier list is the best DLC. For all you, I
Same.
get that question a lot, and it was mainly the logistics system that all of a sudden was like, bam, this now makes sense. Like in IRL terms, it kind of made more sense. What brought it home for you? Why is that your favorite DLC?
It's a really good DLC. I can't say that some DLCs weren't useful. Once again, we talked about this like at the beginning, because some things are really locked behind the paywall. Some key features like being able to annex your puppets. I think you need like what was it? Which DLC was it? I think Death or Dishonor or Waking the Tiger. You literally need it to be able to do war conquest as Japan. You know that because you can't annex your puppets. But besides those things, besides those key features, No Step Back is definitely the best DLC in this game. It got us the Officer Core. Tanks were reworked. Back in the day, it was just you couldn't do anything. You couldn't play around with tanks, if you get what I mean. You just had, you want a slow big tank? Do you want a medium tank? Do you want a fast tank? And that's basically it. Now you can play around with it, and it's kind of fun. Besides that, also the supply system. I wouldn't say it's perfect now. I would say it's much better in 90% of cases, and there's still 10% of the cases, like the Hungary having one supply hub, like the central China having no supplies. I think those places should just get some random supply hubs, please, Paradox. If you're watching out, some supply hubs. But yeah,
And
supply system, yeah.
when the ports came out, they were like super OP. Like one level of port gave you like everything.
I mean, they still kind of are, because
Yeah.
port still counts like a supply hub, and it's much quicker to build. Also, one interesting thing I noticed: if you click on ports, some of them actually have a port and a supply hub at the same time. Some of them don't. So yeah, that's a bit trivial. HOI4 trivia.
Does that
Also,
even matter in the game that you've noticed? Like, do you get extra supply from that?
I think it doesn't. I think it doesn't, unless the port is a very small level. Then it would get some extra supplies if it has supply. But it's like a funny little thing. Like some ports have a random supply hub, some of them don't. It's like the most random thing ever. I think the only bad thing in the Arms Against Tyranny, not Arms Against Tyranny, nose to back. Not really a bad thing, but kind of an irrelevant one was those railway guns. To be honest, I never really built a one. They just
Dude.
don't seem worth.
So I'll tell you about that because I tried and I tried. They either get destroyed, captured, or their pathing always takes a naval route. So they'll get destroyed in the ocean like randomly. Like you're sending them across land, and they'll still go to a port and go port to port and get like sunk. It was. I can't use them, dude.
Hell.
I know they're OP if you can manage it, if you know what you're doing with them. It's completely lost to me though.
Yeah, they're OP probably in Europe, to be honest. Like, use them in South America. Good luck. we don't have railways.
There may have never been a South American railway gun, period, in the history of the world. I'm not aware of one.
Yeah, they didn't have that many very recent wars.
I mean, I know.
Maybe
Did
they-
you even know, like, Italy had railguns? I think I was studying the Battle of France, and I believe that Italy had a few railguns that they used from the south.
No, I didn't know. I'm not really a railgun expert. I just know that Germany had that big one. What was the name of it? Like Gustav, right?
Gustav, yeah. What's
that's
the
like the end.
Okay, this is a major digression, but Carl Gustav Mannerheim, right?
Oh, Gustav Emil Mannerheim. What about him?
Why is the gun named? Is that a royalty, like a Prussian royalty, or the name Gustav? Because it's like there's Gustav everywhere in European history. I've just always been curious.
It's just a name, I think. But I think that guy was like the biggest Chad ever, like the Mannerheim himself. Can you actually have him as a leader in Finland now, or can't you? I don't know.
Yes, you go non-aligned, and then you click on the balance of power, and as soon as war breaks out, you pay something like 100 political power to go to form a military government, and he becomes your non-aligned leader.
Oh, that's great. So yeah,
dude, it's pretty Chad, but the fascist like portion of the focus tree is like way better, as you know.
It's OP. Yeah, you just finish 5 focuses and get 100 factories. It's unbalanced. What's I'm gonna say? It's unbalanced at all.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you feel that Finland is completely broken in the current iteration of Hearts of Iron 4?
Yeah, it is, but not only Finland. I recently played Estonia. Even Estonia is broken. But yeah, Finland is definitely broken. You don't need any skill in HOI4. You just need to know how to click buttons and maybe improve relations, and you can become a major country in 1939, 1938 maybe. It's incredibly broken. It's stupidly broken. That's all I'm gonna say.
What's your take on the new co-op focus tree? Because I don't see a lot of people talking about that, but I'm a major proponent of it, that is the best feature of the new DLC. What are your thoughts?
What do you mean? The one to the right of the Nordic countries? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, you have to gain access, you have to play with another person to do their side of the stuff. And I think you have to play as Sweden to unlock it as well.
Actually, I'm not very informed on that, to be honest. I thought that you're thinking about like the focus tree to the right, the Nordic League or whatever it's called, the one that gives you buffs. Is that the thing you're mentioning?
Yes, I did it with Antisil. The only way that I've found to do it is you have to have a player on Sweden and then any other country in the Nordic League. So it'd be Denmark, Norway, Finland, and then you can have access to the right side. Some of the focuses will give buffs to the whole faction or just whatever nation is actually completing that focus.
Yeah, that initially thought to be kind of a stupid path because I don't know if it was buggy or something. I still don't get it. Do you need to have like an independent ally or a puppet ally? Because sometimes a puppet is enough, sometimes it's not. And it's also different, I noticed, depending on what ideology you are. I did like my Monarchist Denmark playthrough, and the first focus is the one I only finished. It gave you like zero point 0.7 daily PP, and that's kind of OP. And I just had Iceland in my faction, so I don't know. I still don't understand it. It has some nice buffs, but it just takes forever, to be honest.
I don't think so. It's you have to have multiplayer, as far as I know, or else you could access it and do it yourself. But I don't know why you'd want to do that. So when you go down Sweden in the middle right, you have an option to either basically integrate all the Nordic nations that are in your faction, and you get all their ships, manpower, planes, tanks, everything, or the left focus, and I'm going to show you this on the screen right now, will give you access to the right side of the focus tree, and then you or your other multiplayer co-ops can go down that tree and gain the bonuses for that. So that's as far as I know. I haven't tested the right way out, which is take everyone's guns and equipment, but that's pretty ridiculous. Like, that's world conquest territory easily. But yeah, any questions about that?
I wouldn't say that I'm like informed that much. I'm not really a multiplayer player, as I said previously. So yeah, I'm not really. Anything I'd say probably wouldn't have any base in anything. It would just be me trying to sound smart. So yeah, I'm not gonna say anything honestly, because I'm not really informed. I'm not well informed on that thing.
Well, check out Sweden. I kind of want to do a playthrough. I'm still doing Finland. I did find out an easier way of getting the lone wolf. Not what you did, which was absolutely amazing. Getting all the achievements in one run as Finland was 10 out of 10. So go check that out on Seo's channel. But yeah, so I'll
Yes,
come out
please.
with the video soon. I'm coming out with a video soon to show people the easy way to do the lone wolf.
So yeah, I did that video. I think you can actually do every single achievement as any country except for Sweden that got recently their focus tree. It's just, of course, the matter of strats, the matter of cheese, the matter of developing the strategies, maybe exploiting a little bit. But it's in theory it's possible. I don't know if you saw, but my 20,000 subscriber special video, I played as Italy and I got like 35 achievements. Actually 34, but I said 35 because one of them was bugged at the time. I couldn't get it no matter what, so I just said 35. I don't care. Take that. Take that HOI4.
Oh man, Italy was so buggy when that new focus tree came out with By Blood Alone. It was a mess.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it still kind of is. The balance of power thing was horrible,
Yeah.
and it still is. But I must admit that Arms Against Tyranny, I was very. What's the name of it? Shit, I forgot the word. Fuck. Wait, sorry.
Surprised or pleasantly surprised? I don't know.
Yes, I was pleasantly surprised. I was very skeptical. I was very pessimistic about the upcoming balance of power because I saw, well, many creators got the early access. I don't know if you did. I didn't, and I saw that there's balance of powers. I'm like, that's it. This is gonna completely suck. And I must say that this DLC isn't perfect. It has many bugs, and I really don't like that. But the balance of power was done decently because it's sort of irrelevant. In Finland, it's just either the leader has low support and then the Sisu national spirit is weak, or it's strong, and it's just as simple as that. In Denmark, it's a bit more complex. It's more it requires you to have it to a certain point to the left or right if you want to do some focuses, but it's still not completely. It's not gonna ruin your game because of some random thing or whatever. It's barely relevant, and honestly, I like it that way. It should be that way. I think not completely dictating your playthrough, your path that you're choosing politically, but maybe giving you some buffs and some nerfs in one field or the other way around.
No,
I like the balance of power in the new DLC.
I had the same concerns when I saw that they were going to add it. and was pleasantly surprised as you did. I think what happened was it was a new mechanic for By Blood Alone, and they must have worked out the kinks with that DLC to then bring it to other countries. Yeah, we can get you early access next time. Just DM me next time and we'll get it for you. And then I think that you would be really instrumental. I don't know if many people are aware, but the YouTube creators are giving bug reports when the beta comes out, right before the DLC launches, and the changes are made fairly rapidly when they're in that, a month before the DLC. And I think that you would be really helpful because you're like the exploit master, or the bug master, I would say, like finding the bugs in the game and the hidden things. So yeah, we'll get you that access for sure. And for the next DLC, whenever it comes out.
If it does come out, because I think it's gonna be either 1, 2, or no more DLCs when it comes to HOI4. Like Middle East, South America, and what else is there left out there? I mean, they could do a DLC of the forgotten countries like Belgium, Austria, and whatnot, but countries that could be like pointed at some specific way, you can't really do it. When it was the Bible alone, you could say countries that had to do something with Italy at least. Switzerland has a Italian minority or whatever. Ethiopia, Italy-Ethiopian war. But now it's Nordics, but we don't really have. We're running out of regions to point out at, if you know what I mean. And yeah, what you said about the bug reports, yeah, I think content creators are really useful. I didn't get the early access. I don't mind that much, but yeah, I think I would help because even after the DLCs come out, I make usually shorts or longer videos talking about some bugs. Last time I mentioned all the broken formables because you know that up until this point, many formables were broken by the added states and they're still not fixed. And I think the paradox should really fix that because, let's be honest, it's a really annoying thing to see a randomly non-core state inside of your core territory. If you get what I mean, it's annoying. It's not that massive change, but it's annoying. So yeah.
Well, I think that if I was a developer, I would look at your content to see the bugs. However, they need background behind in what situation the bugs happen and particulars about kind of like how it happens, when it happens, so that they can go through the code. So I don't know if they could just like watch a video and know how to change it, is my sense after talking with them extensively. So yeah, it would be great to have you on those Discord DMs to help improve the game.
Yeah, that would be good. Let's just say that would be good.
Well, if there's anything else you'd like to say, I think we're going to wrap it up here.
Cheese.
Dude, I don't know. You crack me up, dude, more than any other HOI4 content creator, man. I just love the dry humor.
You said if there is anything left to say, so yeah, there was. Okay, that was a stupid joke.
Oh, well, it still got me to laugh. But yeah, thank you guys all for joining me. Go ahead and check out Sejo's channel. I'm going to leave a link in the description box below. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.